recording will be provided later on your learning management system. So let's start working today's session. Before we start, today's session would be basically on how we can curate data using Web of Sciences and Scopus databases mainly. This is a step which most of the researchers are familiar with, and I'm not required to give you all the detail, but for making your work easy, I've already uploaded a few videos how to use these databases and Microsoft Excel. But this step is very simple. Everybody can understand that step. But this is for module 2. But before we start working on module 2, I want to give you a quick demonstration on what have already been uploaded on your portal and how to use that learning management system for your learning. So this is the interface usually you see when you start working with this module. So let's start learning with this masterclass. So these are a few of the options which I've already uploaded. These are in the order in which we need to work on. Because in this session, in this course, everybody have a different level of understanding. That might be some of these contents are you already familiar with, and you can skip them and you can focus on those areas of working which we need to work on. So starting from the basics of the systematic literature review, then I uploaded a video on what exactly a research question is, because we're using this term research question a lot. It's very important for the new researchers and upcoming researchers to understand what exactly a research question is, and then we can move on from there. And this is the live session. We had the live session. I've already uploaded the recording for this live session, and sorry for the interruption in the live session in the previous session. Then I have already uploaded videos on how you can practically apply the learning we have in live session for developing a research question. So this is the research question, designing research question, and I've already given you some tutorials, and I compare all these different tools for AI tools and started my research question development. So whenever you find time, please watch these videos and follow these steps. And these videos are followed by the explanation in the writing session. But at the same time, if some session, for example, if some session have some files attached to this learning, maybe this one. Okay, so designing AI-powered research question, you can see you have an exercise file there. This is the file you can download in PDF or Word file, and later on you can use the content available in there. And sometime I will provide you a few important instruction and also the assignments in the exercise file. So all the content which needs to be uploaded will be in this exercise file. You can post the comment, and the comment is for the general discussion. If you want to share your experience, or is there any question you want to ask, and is there any specific comment on that specific topic, you can use this comment section and I will help you to understand this. Okay, so these are all different sections of your learning management system. So module 1 is already being completed. Only one part of it is remaining, which we will try to cover within this today's live session. For module 2, I have already uploaded all the content. This is very simple module and will be using Web of Sciences and Scopus databases to download the article, the metadata, and also use Microsoft Excel AI feature for developing, merging the data, filtering data, and also for descriptive analysis. I will explain that later on also. So this is the module 2 content. Module 3 content will be uploaded next week after the next week's class, and similarly for module 4. But this is module 5, where I have already uploaded the explanatory videos of some AI tools which we are going to use in this masterclass. So if you want to make yourself familiar with these tools, I will keep uploading these AI tools which are useful in our research. So this section is just to give you introduction of those AI tools. But obviously, the way we are writing our systematic literature might be different, and we are using these tools in a different way in order to complete our systematic literature review. But this module 5 is just for additional learning and make yourself familiar with these AI tools. But the way we are going to use them might be different. Okay, so this is up till now most of the content for module 1 and 2 is already being uploaded, and you can take your time and learn them. And at the end of the module 2 you will have one exercise file which I have already explained last week, but I will explain that in detail in today's session as well. So before we move on to the content for today's session, is there any question about the learning management system? Anything you want to ask, or any question anyone have? Please unmute your mic and you can ask your question. Otherwise, I assume everybody is clear about the learning management system, and you have access to all these videos and explanation files. Now I can start working on today's module or today's live session. Okay, so let's continue with today's session then. So today's session is important because we have to cover some part of the module 1, and then I will explain about the module 2. Module 2 is relatively easy. If you are a researcher, maybe you have experienced all these steps already, so that might not be a difficult case for you. But let's start today's session. But today's session will start again reminding ourselves that there are 4 steps in research process, and especially writing systematic literature review. Conceptualization is where we will be developing our research question with the help of AI. This is where we started our first module. And once we complete our research question development, we'll work on how we can extract data from different databases and use AI to process that information. There are many AI tools which can help us to process that information, but somehow the module 2 work is still manual because we don't have access to all these databases and directly downloadable formats where we can download all these files. So this is where you need to spend your time, and you need to work a little bit manual, and maybe you need access to these databases, Scopus and Web of Sciences from your institutional repository. If you don't have access to any of these databases, please try to arrange some maybe collaboration with any of the researchers who have access to these databases, because this is very important. We cannot perform our systematic literature review with the help of Google Scholar or all these search engines. We need specific databases, okay? And then once we complete that, the next step would be data synthesis. This is where we'll be learning about structure topic modeling and latent directed allocation LDA model. So that would be part of our next module, which is upcoming in next week. And then finally, I will give you the way we can complete one research article, a complete demonstration on a template of research article based on the work we have done in step 1, 2, and 3. Then I will show you how you can complete a complete research article for high quality research journal using a template. And that would be our module 4. Okay, so let's continue working. First step, we started with the AI-powered design, AI-powered research questions or research inquiries. And this can be done based on 2 different phases, which I've explained in the previous live session also. The first one is formulating and refining research question. This is what we have already learned, and I believe everybody is familiar with this diagram, where we have explained 6 different steps of completing phase 1, starting from a very initial or broader area. Then you need to generate a few options, then you need to clarify and improve those options, and finally with the help of this AI you can finalize your research question based on your novelty and gaps. And human review and iteration is very important. You need to refine that research question, which I've already explained in the video, where you can follow those steps. And finally, you need to generate keywords and their synonyms. That's a 6-step model which we have completed in the live session last time, but I have also uploaded one video where I have shown you how you can use this Word file and use all these different prompts to generate your research question. Okay, so this is what we have already done until now. Okay, so now based on these 6 steps, I have developed one research question, which I have already explained in that video. Uh, my research question, it's too detailed, obviously. We will improve that later on for write-up or writing or search purposes. But for now, this is a detailed research question because I need to use Pico framework for this research question. That is why I need a detailed research question. But later on, for the for the search purposes on Scopus and Web of Sciences database, we might need to make it more concise. Okay, so the research question I've already developed is, to what extent do AI-driven analytical platforms like apps or any other analytical platform which can analyze data, leveraging real-time IoT sensor data from fleets and machinery, from the machines and the fleets, enhances specific sustainable practices with global logistic operations and heavy equipment manufacturing. So this is my research question. Obviously, I have to improve this research question before I move on to the next stage, but I will show you how I can improve. But for now, this is a really good topic, and I can continue working with this topic for the sake of this systematic literature masterclass. And I will also develop one research article based on this research question with you all. And hopefully at the end of this masterclass, you would be able to complete that research article as well, okay, based on your own research question. So this is what we have covered until now. Now, next step is, once we have developed this research question, we need to test this research question, whether this research question is workable or not. Okay. Now, this can be done in many different ways, but I have developed a test. We call it Goldilocks test. This test is very simple. You need to use any database. For now, I'll be using Scopus, but obviously you need to use websites or databases of established databases like Scopus, Web of Sciences, or any other databases. But once you log into Scopus website, you need to go through the access through your institution. So my institution have already provided me access to these databases, but if you don't have access to these databases, try to find out some alternative options to use these databases by collaborating any researchers or any scholars around the globe. Okay, now this is where I'm going to test my initial research question, okay, whether this research question is workable or not. So for that purpose, I will start working a very simple keywords, which is AI-driven analytical platform, and maybe logistics. Okay, so I'm just taking very general keywords, not all of them, very general keywords. Then I will use this keywords to extract the information, how much different research articles are available, how many different research articles are available, or how much literature is available on that specific topic. So my topic is AI-driven analytical platforms and IoTs, real-time IoT sensor data, and sustainable manufacturing or sustainable logistics or supply chain. So it's very complex, but I will try to make it very simple by using these keywords, AI and now remember, when I'm using any keyword which have more than one word in it, I will use inverted commas. Otherwise, I don't need to use these. Okay, so let's say and logistics and IoT. Okay, so these are a few very important keywords which were in my research question. I'm trying to apply Goldilocks test. Okay, so Goldilocks test is a test which tells me whether do you have enough already published material or data on this research article or on this research question, because I want to complete my systematic literature review. And systematic literature review is only possible when you have a considerable amount of literature available on that particular topic. So most of the cases, when you develop a very specific research question, you will see that not enough data is available for you. Okay, so in that case, you are not able to conduct your systematic literature review, and you need to make your research question a little bit more broader. So that is human iteration, where you can improve your research question quickly. Okay, so this is a very simple test. I applied this test, and I received 515 documents. So that means there are enough research articles available. Now, the criteria for the Goldilocks test is if you receive, let's say, 2,000 or 3,000 research articles, they are more than like the amount which we can handle. And there is a highly possible scenario where a systematic literature reviews on these topics will already be conducted. So in that case, I would not recommend you to work on these type of topics. So you need to make it more specific, so narrow it down. And in any case, if your research question gives you, let's say, less than 100 research article at first initial broader search, in that case, my recommendation is that you need to make your research question more broader. Your data set is not enough for a good quality systematic literature review. So we need some research articles already published. So in that case, at a broader level, you can continue with your search, and you can continue with your systematic literature review if your research article at initial search might be more than 200 and less than 1,000. That is my understanding, but there is no clear criteria available for that. But in my understanding, this is the best option, best possible result lies within 200 to 1,000 research articles. So if you have more than 1,000 research articles, then you need to apply multiple quality or inclusion and exclusion criteria, which we'll study later on. Okay, so this is a quick rectification of my research question. In my case, it shows me that this topic is workable, and I can continue working with this topic. But later on, if I believe in the next stage, if there are any challenges or any rectification I need to do with my research question, I can continue and I can do with that as well. Okay, before I start collecting data, this is just a normal test. You can apply this test on other databases, for example, Web of Sciences as well. Okay, in Web of Sciences, usually you will find less article than Scopus. So that is why usually I use Scopus, because most of the time when the article available in the Scopus database, that might be or must be available in Web of Sciences as well, because these are two very prestigious scientific databases. Okay, so this is stage one. You have developed your research question and you have tested it on the Goldilocks test basis, mean that you have used Scopus Web database and applied the general keywords, and we can also work with these keywords and see how many research articles are being explored. I have already uploaded one video in module 1 where I've explained how you can extract keywords from your research question. So if you are not familiar with this concept, extracting keywords from your research question, you can watch that video, 10 minutes video, and you would be able to understand the process of extracting research questions, keywords from your research question. Okay, clear? Any question until here? Things are clear? Any question? Anyone? If you have any question, please unmute your mic and you can ask your question.
Okay, thank you. I just want to ask that you said that there is video on how to generate the keywords from the research questions already,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I see that the keywords that you use is quite general and it's not very specific like the research questions. So you go with the theme, the topics, rather than well, you just use AI rather than AI-driven analytical platforms or the IoT sensor data, right? So we don't need to be that specific.
Yes, we need those specific when we are extracting data. Okay. I'm not extracting data for now. I'm just looking at the number of research articles available in the literature. If I add, like, for example, IoT sensor data, then I will have a limited number of research articles that might restrict the ability of my systematic literature review performance. So I will look into the possibilities. First is 500 research articles, then I will apply another test, and finally I will collect maybe 60 or 70 research articles. For now, I want to decide whether I will have enough pool of literature where I can perform my systematic literature review. So that's why I'm using a very general, because this is very specific research question. We need to work on this research question on the phase 2 as well. Okay. But if we are extracting final data, yes, at that time we will be working with very specific keywords. Okay.
Yes, got it. Thank you.
Got it. Okay. Okay. So let's continue working with the research question. Now we have applied a Goldilocks test, a quick explanation or confirmation of our research topic, whether this topic is not too narrow or it is not too broad. That's why we need to rework on this. Okay, so once if I find that this 3 or 4 keywords which are related to my initial topic and I'm receiving only 20 or 30 research articles, then obviously I need to refine and make it more broader, my topic, and then you need to follow the same process. Okay, so once we finalize this research question, the next phase, the phase 2, would be working with this PICOS framework. And this is where we last time we have already discussed. The PICOS framework is a very well established framework where we discuss about, or we break down our question into different components, and these components are population. On what population are you planning to study? Intervention. Okay, so is there any intervention, any treatment, any specific mediator or moderator treatments or experiments are being performed? Okay, so then the comparison. In some cases you have a comparison in your research. It depends on your research question, the nature of your research question. If you are not comparing, obviously you don't need to have these groups. But if you are comparing, your research question is to compare different experiments or different groups or different research streams, then obviously comparison is one of your component of your research question. And then you must need to provide the specific outcome you are going to evaluate, or you need to be working with those. Okay, and then study design. This may be based on time frame, based on the methods you are looking at. Maybe in some cases we are working with some specific theories only, theoretical development, or maybe some specific experiment, or maybe some specific time frame. So all these are part of your study design, and you need to include, or you can include that. The idea is you need to keep it like a very moderate level. Don't make it very specific where it is quite challenging to perform systematic literature review. Remember, the fundamentals of systematic literature review tells us we need to have enough literature or enough already available data set or published literature. So if you are making things complex, obviously your output for the research would be very less. Okay? So keep it up to the moderate level. So study design, if your research question is very broad and you have more than 2,000, 3,000 research articles, then you can restrict it to maybe only for last 5 years, or maybe on a specific time period. For example, any research related to COVID or after the COVID situation, then we can make it like a time frame based research. Okay, so this is how we can learn. Okay, so for intervention, antecedents are independent variable, and it may be output if you have predecessors and antecedents. It can be considered as outcome, but yes, if you have a very specific intervention in your mind, then you can keep it as a specific intervention. But don't worry, we will use AI to help us in this way as well. So AI will tell us whether it is an intervention or not. But in my opinion, antecedents and precedents are basically output and inputs. Okay, but we'll see. It depends on the nature of the study. It's not a very established rule. Obviously we can work on on these later on as well. Okay, so continuing with this, will be working with this PICOS framework, and I just want to read this quickly. It's a very well structured framework. Transform vague research interest into precise answerable questions. That's very important. And it serves as a both planning tool and communicating device, helping researchers to articulate their intentions clearly to colleagues, review boards, or any funding bodies, or even the editors, that this is what we are trying to achieve in this. So that's very important framework, because you will be writing your introduction around this framework. Okay, once we complete this table, which I'm going to show you today, you would be able to write your complete introduction of systematic literature review research article. I will explain that later on when we will be in module 5, but we'll be using the same table for writing our introduction. Okay, now once we have our research question, we can use this prompt. Okay, break down the following research question into PICOS framework. So take that research question, ask an AI tool to break it down into all these components, and it will automatically break it down. And the thing is, so the thing is, once we break it down, we need to work within each of these components, and we need to find out the criteria, inclusion, exclusion, outcome based. So there are inclusion and exclusion criteria mean we need to follow the PRISMA guideline, which is already being uploaded in module 2 first video. So I need a specific inclusion and exclusion criteria for each of these PICOS framework components. Okay, so that is where we talk about the AI for granularity and specificity of the PICOS framework. So the prompt we are going to use is for the population component of any component, population component, or any component you are working on. What are the specific inclusion and exclusion criteria for the large multinational? This is based on the research question we developed. So what we are talking about is we are talking about the inclusion and exclusion criteria. So once we identify that inclusion and exclusion criteria, that might be the case of our PRISMA guideline. For example, my population is maybe people who are having a specific disease. Now, inclusion is those who are being diagnosed with those diseases, and those who are not being diagnosed, they are exclusion. For example, if I'm working with the gender wage, for example, female wages, now female is inclusion, and all those studies where the male are also included would be exclusion. For example, if I have a specific study on the children, maybe or maybe teenagers, so all those teenagers would be included as a sample, as a population, and the rest would be excluded. So it means that I need to clearly identify the inclusion and exclusion criteria, and it's important to apply that inclusion and exclusion criteria for every component of this PICOS framework. Okay, then if we are talking about the comparison, so we need to ask AI what are the different options available for comparing the different experiments. If your research question is experiment or comparison based, then we can include this comparison or potential comparison type. And finally, you need to refine those, and you need to work with these different inclusion and exclusion criteria and fine tune before we move into the stage 2 of this. So assignment, a very simple assignment, which I've explained last week as well. I'm giving you this table. So what we need to do is we need to complete our research question. We need to divide that into PICOS framework. We need to write inclusion and exclusion criteria, and we need to apply that inclusion and exclusion criteria on each of these databases, Scopus and Web of Sciences. Download those articles and give me the final understanding or final statement. Okay. Now, before we move on, let me show you how we can apply this guideline. Okay, so how we can use AI. Just quickly, I'm going to show you how we can use AI to break this into different PICOS framework components. Okay, so I'm using all these tools: ChatGPT, okay, Gemini, and then I'll bring my research question. Okay, let me bring my research question. That PICOS framework will also help you to refine your research question. Okay. Okay, now what I did is break down the following research question into PICOS framework, and I just entered my research question. I'm going to copy this for other tools as well. And let's just quickly work with all of these tools just to show you how this will work. No, I don't need deep search, but you can try with the deep search also, but deep search will give you very detailed answer, which I don't need at this stage. Okay, so let's think about this. My research question has been divided into population, intervention, comparison, outcomes, okay, and study design, which is might be time or something like this. Okay, so it took my research question and divided into different components. Obviously, we can also do that manually. It's not very hard job, but still, it's okay to use these tools to understand. And similarly, if you look at ChatGPT also giving me explanation, which I need is really good, and I can use this explanation for the table development. And also, you can see that DeepSeek is also giving us almost similar answer, really good answer. And you can also see Copilot is also giving me almost similar answers. Now, this is some part of my research question. I have applied I need to be a little bit quick because we are out of time already. Okay, so what we need to do is just quickly showing you, I have applied this first step. Okay, so the first step is already being applied. I've already divided my research question into PICOS component. Now I need to work with the inclusion and exclusion criteria. So I can use the specific component, maybe population or all intervention or maybe outcome, but I can also write a very, a prompt which can give me all these inclusion and exclusion criteria for all these framework. Okay. Now the prompt here, it is written for the population component of PICOS. What are some inclusion and exclusion criteria? So let's just use this prompt. Just asking it to give me specific inclusion and exclusion criteria for all different frameworks. So it can help me to give me the final. Okay, now you have all the inclusion and exclusion criteria for detailed inclusion and exclusion criteria. You can always, use this, and also you can work with this information. This is not the final information we need to use. Always human decision making and human intelligence is the central to all research processes. Don't rely on only on these AI tools. Just AI tools are very good in processing information and brainstorming and generating information or options for you. Okay, so you can quickly work on these options, and finally you can see that it's very good options available. You can use any AI tool which you want to use for this framework. Okay, now quickly, what I did is I have tried to complete this table, which is my assignment for this week. So I took my research question, divided it into different components, then question type. Question type means that you need to explain whether you want to provide me a comparison, or you looking at different research types, or you are looking at different methodologies discussed. Research question is important, whether it is a comparison, it is looking at the historic data, or knowledge expansion. So you need to identify your question type as well. This might be a challenging task, and you need to work on this and give me that question type as well. Okay, so then we have inclusion, exclusion criteria, statements, and all this. These are very simple table components which you can complete. Okay, so this is the assignment 1 after week 2. If you have any question about the assignment, I will upload this Excel sheet, and you can fill up this Excel sheet, and you need to submit through your portal. This assignment will be uploaded immediately after this session. Now, in week 2, okay, so once you complete everything for week 2, then you can work on this assignment and complete this assignment and upload. Any question about this? Anything you want to ask or share? Otherwise, I can move into the module 2 work. Okay, so are you okay with applying PICO's framework and dividing your research question into your different components? Is it okay? Any question? Anything which is not clear?
I think that we need to try. And so I will, so this, the templates will be uploaded or
Yes.
already uploaded. Okay.
No,
And then we can
with today's session, live session, I will upload this Excel sheet so you can download that.
Okay, in the Excel files. Okay, and then I'll try. Yeah, well,
Okay.
thank you.
Yes, sure. You need to try. And meanwhile, if you find anything difficult, you can, always post in the comments, or you can ask me in the next session as well. Okay, because if you are trying, obviously you will face some difficulties, and we can discuss those difficulties in live session. That is why the live sessions are being, and designed. So if you have any difficulty, you can post comments, or you can ask me questions in the live sessions. Okay. Now let's continue working with the module 2, which is relatively easy, very easy module, but I will give you a few detailed steps which you need to follow, and outcome of this module. Module 1, which is our research question development and the PICOS framework. Under the PICOS framework, after applying all these criteria, you should be able to design your research question. That is output of module 1, a research question, a finally refined, designed by AI research question. Okay, that is first outcome, first module's outcome. Okay, so once we have that research question, the next step would be starting working with the data collection. Now, this is where a lot of manual work is required. I'm sorry, we don't have any tool which can help us to access all these databases at the same time and then work with these databases. We need to work with these databases separately and export our results into Microsoft Excel sheet. Okay, and once you have those Microsoft Excel sheet, then we can start working with different databases. For example, Scopus database. This is the Scopus database. Now consider you have your final refined research question, but a trick here is you don't need to make your research question so lengthy. It should be very simple. For example, if in my research question, if I want to design this research question for literature search, this would be a little bit more simplest rather than having a detailed research question. This is good for writing an introduction and understanding your research topic. But when we are talking about the research topic, okay, now research topic or research question which we are going to use for data extraction need to be a little bit more concise. Okay. Now what I can do is the impact of AI-driven analytical platform, leveraging real-time IoT's sensor data. I don't need to use this sensor data because IoTs automatically will give us sensor data for sustainable logistics. That's it. That is a very simple research question I can start working with. So you need to make your research question simplest in form of like don't need to add too many research ideas in one research question. Okay, if you have too many research ideas, divide them into two different research questions rather than working with the one research question. Okay, so standard, try to develop 3 research keywords from your research question. Watch that video. In that video, I have clarified this in detail. 3 or maximum 4. The more keywords you have and the more logical arrangement or Boolean operators we are going to use within each keyword, it means that the less literature you can explore. Okay, so make it possible at the final research question you should have only 3 or 4 major keywords of your research. Okay, and then I will explain it to you how we can use those keywords, and the rest of the topic will be covered. Okay, now module 2 will start with your research question and keywords you have. For example, this is AI, logistics, and IoTs. Now, if I add sustainable, okay, now I have these keywords which are related to my topic. I have 108 research article, which I believe is a reasonable number to start my research writing, especially for a systematic literature review. Do you have any question here? Everybody should have at least some thoughts here because this is tricky, which I have done. So you might have some questions here. Anyone have any question?
Well, do we need to limit it to business management and economics, like the categories of the research?
That
And then
depends on your inclusion and exclusion criteria, but I don't do that because the research is interdisciplinary nowadays. So it's impossible to separate all these fields. It's not possible, especially when we are working on these type of technologies. And depending on your research question, for example, if you are talking about financial reporting, then yes, you can work on the economics and those type of research fields, but not for all the. A question which everybody should ask, why I am using these 3 keywords only, but in my research question there might be many different keywords, right? Why I'm using these 3 or 4 only. So there is a logical explanation to this. Okay, for example, I have sustainable. This is a keyword. Now sustainable will cover all keywords after sustainable. For example, sustainable manufacturing, sustainable logistics, sustainable, everything related to sustainable will be covered within this keyword. Okay, you need to be a little bit more intelligent in terms of working with your keyword. Now IoTs, it will cover all the IoT sensor data, IoT analytics, IoT with AI. So everything will be covered within this IoT because this is a very simple keyword. Similarly, logistics, so it will cover sustainable logistics, it will cover global logistics, it will cover everything, right? And similarly, if I use AI, but I need to use another artificial intelligence, I'm using this Boolean operator or. So the system will use AI or artificial intelligence. Okay, so in any case where we are using only keyword AI, or some research articles are writing artificial intelligence. Okay, so in that case this or will find out everything, either it is AI or it is artificial intelligence. I have explained these, how you can use these databases in detail from basic query to advanced level query in module 2 video. So you can watch those videos and follow these steps. Okay, so the idea is to make very general relatable keywords for your research idea and then extract your data. And after extraction, obviously you can look into the scope of the research and find out whether the research article you exported is related to your topic or not. That we will do later on in the quality assessment criteria. But for now, I will be using very general keywords, and I can export all these records. So I will click here and export all these records into CSV file. It will ask me what type of data. I will include all data, and I have exported this into Excel sheet. Okay, so this is the step 1 for module 2. Okay, so the guideline we are using is a PRISMA guideline, Preferred Reporting Items for Systematic Literature Review and Meta-Analysis 2022 guidelines. I've already explained what is PRISMA and how we use in PRISMA in our research in one first video of this second module, and also uploaded one document with that, which is the document which you must need to use in all of your systematic literature review research articles. Okay, so you always need to use that PRISMA flow diagram if you are new to this PRISMA. But if you are familiar with this PRISMA, then I don't have any problem. So you need to search literature, but this literature you need to follow the PRISMA guideline. And PRISMA guidelines are like keywords, and you also have your inclusion and exclusion criteria, which is already being included in that table. You can apply those inclusion and exclusion criteria from these bars, and you can always use these different option to restrict your search or to expand your search with all these different options. Okay, so this is where I have already explained this in one video in our module 2. Okay, clear? Any questions? So first we need to apply that table, and then we start using Web of Sciences or Scopus databases to search the literature using PRISMA guideline, which I've already explained in 2 different videos, where one is for Scopus and one is for Web of Sciences. Okay, so once you are done with your all keywords and everything, the next step is to export that in Excel sheet. Once you export that data in Excel sheet, now this is where you need to start another manual task. But I have already explained how you can use Microsoft Power Query or Microsoft AI options to combine the files extracted from Web of Sciences and also from Scopus. It is already being uploaded in your data set. So once you merge data from different databases, obviously there is a possibility you will have duplicate records. Okay, now we can remove those duplicate records in Microsoft Excel with very simple process by clicking only on one button, and you can always remove the duplicates. Okay, now this is the database data set which we extracted from Scopus. Now you can see all this is called metadata. So metadata is very important. You need to work with metadata in order to explain or in order to apply quality criteria, and also in order to explain or explore different themes in your research. Okay, now this is simple idea. This is simple Excel sheet where you can start working with the Excel data. I've already uploaded one video on Excel AI. Okay, now for example, if you look at quickly, I'm giving you a very quick intro. If you click here on Analyze Data, and system will automatically generate AI based analysis of your data. Okay, now you can see there are many different tables and columns are available, and you can use any. Okay, for example, you can ask anything. For example, year-wise publication. You can develop many different tables with AI options in Microsoft Excel. So Microsoft Excel is a very powerful tool for data analysis, and it have AI options. So please make yourself familiar with that video where I have explained how you can use AI features in Microsoft Microsoft Excel. Okay. Now, once we have this descriptive analysis, we'll use them in later on in write-up as well. But for now, you should make yourself familiar with the features available in Microsoft Excel. Now, first thing, the second thing is you need to apply manual quality assessment criteria. Before we move on to the next step where we are going to download all these research articles, I want you to go through all these abstracts, okay? And maybe if you double click here, you will find this is first abstract of first research article. Quickly read through this research article abstract and mark it whether this is related to your research or not. Somehow, we may have some research articles which are not within the scope of our research. You can exclude them, but you need to mention. Initially, I have downloaded 108 research article, and out of them, 23 research articles were out of the scope, or they were not within the research question scope. So we have removed them from the database before we move on to the next step. This is called quality assessment criteria, and you must need to do it manually as well. Okay, so read all these abstracts and quickly decide whether you want to keep these research articles in your research systematic literature review or not. Okay, so once you have completed this step, which is your steps exporting records and merging from different databases, because you will have multiple Excel sheets. Maybe you are exporting from Web of Sciences and you are also exporting it from Scopus. So I've already explained, if you have multiple Excel sheets, how you can merge them in Microsoft Excel. So once you merge them, remove the duplicate, then you will have a final clear file which will tell you how many research articles will be included in your systematic literature review. Most probably, we can perform a systematic literature review on a data set which have minimum 30, but maximum 150 to 200 research articles. Other than that, it's a very broader category, and it's very difficult to process that number of research articles in any systematic literature review. Okay, so you need to work on this, and then you need to finalize how many different research articles are available. But each step you need to report in accordance with PRISMA guidelines. Okay, so that's where we'll be working with the manual process and manual data quality assessment criteria. And finally, once you have completed all these steps and you have extracted all the data from different databases, you have used Microsoft Excel AI to combine all the data, and also you have used Microsoft Excel AI in order to remove the duplicates, and then you have done the manual process of quality assessment. Final step would be you need to extract the PDF files of the research articles included in your data set. Okay. Now, how we can do this? It's a very simple process. In this data set, whatever you are going to export from the Scopus or Web of Science, you will find these DOI numbers. Okay. You can use these DOI numbers to track the link for those research articles. So I have already uploaded one video where I've explained how you can use these links to generate downloadable link for research article. But in simple way, you can just copy them and paste it in browser and search for it, and you can directly access this PDF files, and you can always download. But obviously, this downloading is also manual. You cannot use any AI tool, because some of these research articles are not open access, and some of them they need the subscription. Okay, now this is a simple process, but I have already explained you can create a clickable link within Excel and then quickly download these research articles It may take me maybe 1 hour of manual work, which you can download the research article in PDF files. Okay. So what I'm expecting is at the end of the module 2, mean that this week you are able to download maybe all those research articles which are included in your data set. So you will be having one Excel sheet, and also you will be having one set of PDF files, which is the PDF files of your research article. Remember, in Excel sheet, you have metadata, and in PDF file, you have original documents. Okay, so if you have 60 articles in your Microsoft Excel sheet, it means that you should have 60 PDF files in with you. So we can be, working with the next stage where we'll be learning from these PDF files, and we'll be using AI tools, especially in order to understand what are the different topics, thematic development of those topics, which is structural topic modeling, and also how we can look into the deviations of these different research articles, or maybe research streams in a longer run, which is LDA, latent Dirichlet allocation models, which allow us to understand the data within these PDF and Excel sheet files. Okay, so this is how we are going to work in the module 3. But the module 2 is very simple. It is more about data acquisition, more about data collection and downloading these research articles. Okay, so I think module 2 is simple, but yes, there are few skills you need to learn, especially for Microsoft Excel. And also, if you are not familiar with the searching these databases as a pro in Scopus or Web of Sciences, so you should watch those videos, make yourself familiar with the Boolean operators, make yourself familiar with the different options of these databases, and you would be able to search your literature in more efficient way and easy and quick. Okay, so this is about the module 2. Now, after the module 2, I am expecting that everybody should have one Excel sheet where all the data is being combined, and quality assessment criteria is applied. And finally, you have equal number of PDF files stored in your computer before we move on to the next stage, where we'll be working with AI tools in order to help us to process that information and craft our literature synthesis. Okay, now I've already uploaded a few videos on different AI tools which you can use to learn from the data, or you can also use in our daily life pattern, or daily life research search. Okay, or maybe topic search in different platforms. Okay, so you can make yourself familiar with those tools. I hope so. The next session would be more intense and more technical, but be ready for that and prepare your research question carefully and extract your data. And if you have any question, you can always ask me. Okay? Before we conclude today's session, please, any question? Any question about these different steps which we performed today, the PICOs and also the module 2? If you have any question, please unmute your and ask your
Doctor, I don't have access of Scopus for that. What shall I do?
you don't have access to Scopus, right?
Yes, sir.
Unfortunately, the systematic literature, you must need to follow any specific databases. It can be Scopus, Web of Sciences, or any of them, but most of those are not free. So what you can do is, do you have any friends working abroad in any universities or all this? So you can just send them your keywords, and they can help you to export those Excel sheet.
Okay, yes, sir. Some of
You
the
just
friends
need Excel sheet, right? So you don't need to be like working a lot with those databases, but you need to extract that Excel sheet that gives us opportunity to work with those articles. So you can ask anyone to collaborate with you and add their name
Okay.
in your research. That's a win-win situation.
Okay, thank
you. Okay, because yes, we can work with the Google Scholar, but that's not a reliable systematic literature review method, and not good research journal will accept that. Okay, so you must need to follow these any of these databases. There are many. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Any
I
other
have a-
question?
Yeah, I have a questions. Should we base our inclusion and exclusion criteria on other review papers?
No, it's based on your research question and scope of your research, which we used in PICOS. Okay, so follow the PICOS framework.
Okay.
Okay, and that table will help us to explain all our inclusion and exclusion criteria. For example, in literature, there is something different, and you are working on, for example, just age group of 20 to 25. That is your specific inclusion and exclusion criteria. And inclusion and exclusion criteria is always specific to your research question. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you.
Okay. Any other question? Anyone? Okay, I want you to paste your research question once you complete your research question in the comments. Everybody should paste your research question in the comment before the next week, so I can have a quick overview of your research question and guide you if there is any improvement required in your research question in the next session before we start the next module work. I can spare some maybe 10-15 minutes to discuss your research question. They are very important. Okay. So I want you to work on your research question. Once you complete your research question in the comment section, please paste your research question, and I would be able to view that research question before the next session. If possible, I know everybody is busy. You can take your time, but if you can paste it before the next week, I can give you some feedback, quick feedback on your research question, and we can work together to improve it. Okay. Any other question? Okay, so I believe today's session was quick and intense. So what you need to do is, once I upload the video for today's session, if there are any queries, please maybe review this video 1 or 2 times, because there are many things we have conducted quickly. So try to follow these instructions in your research question development and also data collection. Okay. So once you complete these processes, the next 2 stages are little bit technical and more challenging. Okay. I want you to work on first 2 steps quickly, and then we can take our time for working with the literature synthesis and writing a complete research article. But first 2 stages are relatively easy, and we are working with very simple AI tools which we are already familiar with. Okay, so try to complete it as early as possible. And if you need any feedback, please, you can always contact me, and you can always work with me. Let me share my email ID, personal email ID with you all. Okay, so please, everyone, I have posted my personal email ID in chat box. So if once you develop your research question, and if you need any help, you can just email me, and I will try to develop, before the next session, I will try to help you and bring that question in my live sessions. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a very nice day, and I will try to upload this video of this live session within 1 hour. And our content for module 1 and module 2 is already being uploaded. Everything is uploaded there. Okay. Anything? Any questions?
Good. Well, thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, then have a very nice day. See you next week. Okay, take care.